She does a real good job.
When was the last set from? What was the date? The 13th?
It was, yeah, the 13th.
But yeah, no,
Becky did those.
Oh, she did those? Okay.
kind of weird this fall.
Okay, Erica and Tim have joined.
So we have Erica. It being 7:06, I'm going to call this meeting of the Chelmsford Planning Board to order. Welcome. We are in person, of course. We are also available on Zoom. The information, the link to the Zoom meeting is available in our agenda on the website. And the phone number is, let's see, is there a phone number here that people can use?
Mobile number.
Yeah. Tap mobile, Yeah. Okay. 929-205-6099. That's also available in the agenda on the website. Okay, to start off, I'm going to take things a little bit out of order. My understanding is that Riverneck has asked for a continuance, and I didn't want to have people have to sit around here. What's the situation there?
Yeah, they did submit a continuance. I forwarded that out to the board.
Yeah.
So your next regularly scheduled meeting is May 11th.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to grant the continuance.
Make the motion to grant the continuance.
And a second? We have a motion.
Second.
Second by Anita. And, okay, all in favor?
I haven't, I would like to just, I'm going to vote against the continuance, and I guess I'd like to just know how many days we've been discussing this. And it seems like we keep continuing it and continuing it, and I wonder if the applicant doesn't have a plan that, I mean, I feel like it's not really fair to us in terms of our time. It's not necessarily fair to the abutters who have to make decisions on an ongoing basis in terms of whether they're going to be here, and it keeps getting put on the agenda, then pulled, and kind of dragging on and on. I don't know how long since we opened the hearing, and I know that we have timelines that are required in terms of following them, and that they're designed mostly to protect, in my understanding, to protect the developer from a board that kind of drags things on and on and on unreasonably. But I wonder if the same couldn't be an issue by the developer.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a concern that it drags it on for the public. We're going to show up anyway, and
Yeah.
and I
But
think,
I mean, it's not respectful of our time.
No, it's
necessarily.
not, but they may have good reasons, I don't know. But,
Well, I mean, I think they should show up and tell us their reasons. And, did they ask for this continuance in person? Like,
They did indicate their reason in the written
I'm sorry,
request.
I've been straight out in meetings all afternoon. When did that come in?
I emailed out to the board, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so they indicated that they want to respond to the peer review comments, make the revisions so that when they appear before the board again, that all technical requests have been reviewed and very likely responded to in the affirmative. So I think from their perspective, they are making sure that they're using the public's and the board's time as efficiently as possible.
okay,
Okay,
all right,
But-
well,
that's fair.
But to Deirdre's point,
Yeah, I
mean,
think it's a good
like, I know for a fact that some of the abutters had to take the night off
yeah,
to be here. So they're planning and, putting in, because they work night shifts and what have you, for these days to be off and to be told the day before, I think it's a valid point. I think
yeah.
She's making a very
Well, I
valid
think,
point.
I think another piece of this conversation, let's get through the vote, and then I have a couple of comments of what we might be able to do. So anyway, we've got 4 pro, 1 against, then we have Tim and Nancy.
I'm for it.
Okay, so that sounds like it's 6-1. So the continuance is granted. What I do think we should do is, to the maximum extent possible, find a way to get, when this does happen, and it happens not infrequently to this board from all sorts of applicants, we should try to find a way to notify the most interested parties so they can avoid, taking a day off or whatever it is that they want to do. That we certainly can consider. I made some suggestions, I think it was a couple of days ago, when we first heard of this. And I think we should probably follow this up at our work session, which will be coming up shortly, meaning a couple of weeks. See if there's some mechanism we can put in place to at least notify people and save them showing up. I noticed last meeting, we actually had people, showing up that really didn't need to be there, and we didn't even tell them until late enough in the meeting that it was a bit of an unfairness to them. Anyway, at least at this point, we know it's being continued. So let's take that up as a procedural matter at our.
And where do we stand since the original session opened?
The applicant.
What is our
Yep.
day count?
The applicant has provided a extension for the board to act until May 30th.
Yeah, that's part of when they ask for a continuance. Generally, we get a commitment to relax the time limit as well, particularly in a case like this where it's getting close. So it's not a time limit problem for us.
But the time limit is 120 days.
If not extended.
If not extended, but they typically extend it. They have in this case.
Right, okay.
Okay. So that takes care of that. Next item on our agenda is the continued administrative review for Barnes Lane. Do we, here we go.
Hey, good evening, board members. This is Seth Donahoe with Dillis and Roy. We had discussed this project over your last couple of meetings. Just to refresh your memory, we had submitted an A&R plan for the creation of Lot 2A and Lot 2B from existing Lot 2, which is located on a private way known as Barnes Terrace. And coupled with that application, we had also submitted plans to improve a portion of Barnes Terrace, namely incorporating stormwater controls that are presently absent within the private way. At our last meeting, there were a couple outstanding peer review items. You requested we provide a written reply to that. We did prepare that letter and send it over to the board. We have seen the peer reviews reply to that, as well as a draft decision for this project, and our client has no objections to the draft decision as well. If there's any
Conditions in
specifics?
particular, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just saying that particularly the conditions. You're okay with the conditions?
Correct.
Okay.
So if there's any specific questions related to the recent documents that we've submitted, I'm happy to address them. Otherwise, I can stand aside for a moment.
Okay, well, let's start down the end. Paul, you want to take a shot?
No questions.
Anita, Mike?
No, thank you for responding to the order of conditions. I just have one last, we saw the response from,
Yeah, and your peer review consultant is on the Zoom.
right, so I'd like to know, based off of the response that you gave, are they happy with the response?
So Beta's response, and Phil is on the call, is in your packet. It's also on the screen.
Okay. Any comments from the peer reviewer? There we go.
Phil's joining.
Is he on?
Yes?
Yeah, he's on. Can see him.
Can't hear you, Phil. Still cannot hear you. Right, here we go. Okay, you're good.
Nope,
No.
Still muted.
Sorry, Phil, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay, my apologies. So, yeah, no, we had a chance to review the last submission dated April 12th, 20th. And the applicant has provided responses to several of the comments, and we also have 5 recommended conditions, which are included in my memo.
Okay, and have you looked at those?
We did. The draft permit for the project, I believe incorporated those conditions as well.
Okay.
One of the items we had discussed was the peer reviewer had indicated a desire to incorporate additional infiltration areas for the roof runoff. We had designed the stormwater management system to accommodate that without it, but we've agreed to put this redundant system in place, and we provided the board with a sketch of that as well. I think that was the biggest
Yeah,
item.
it
The
was the
rest
biggest
was
single piece.
general housekeeping and language type things.
Okay, well, any further requests? Let's see, Deirdre, Tim, Nancy? Any thoughts or comments?
I got nothing.
No questions.
Okay, in that case, now is this one motion or two here?
You're going to be making two separate motions.
The first is the A&R,
Correct.
okay,
The second is for the construction of a paper street.
okay. All right, well, I would accept a motion to grant the A&R as requested.
I make a motion to grant the A&R 671 for Barnes Terrace.
Okay, we have a motion from Mike. Second for anybody?
Second,
Who was that? Was that Nancy?
that's Nan.
Okay. All right, I have a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one abstention, I can't.
One abstention, I think, yeah, you're an abstention. So we have 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, I'm an abstention also.
2.
that you're abstaining also. So we got Mike, Nancy, Tim? Are you okay on this one?
Tim's eligible.
Yes.
Okay.
aye.
You're an aye. So that's 4 out of 7, that's all we need for
There
an
should be
A&R.
5 eligible. Shanahan, Walsh, Raisbeck, Arroway, and Connolly.
I'm an aye.
Okay, 5 ayes, 2 abstentions. The A&R is granted.
Thank you.
Now, the next one up is for the paper street.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the construction of the paper street for Barnes Terrace.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Aye.
2 ayes here.
Aye.
And Tim?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I've got 5 with 2 abstentions. And congratulations, but I'd also particularly like to thank you guys. Some of the work that was done on that peer review and on the stormwater was an education. And very well done, thank you.
Well, we appreciate all the feedback.
Yep.
What administrative item? I have the Mylar for the A&R with me. I can either leave that or have that delivered to Town Hall later, whichever you guys prefer.
If you could bring it by Town Hall?
Okay, be happy to do that.
Be great.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a pleasant
We'll
evening.
take care of it, we'll get that taken care of forthwith. Okay, that's Barnes. Okay, next one up is continued public hearings on 9 Acton Road.
Wow, we're in the spotlight tonight.
Yeah,
Right,
it's pretty bright, isn't it?
right in front of me, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson, here on behalf of the applicant for 9 Acton Road. We did continue the last meeting, the purpose being that we had just received the peer review letter from the Beta Group, and we had some soil testing that we needed to get done. So we continued to be able to do that, and I think you have within your packets a new letter. We completed the soil testing on site last Thursday. Made kind of a mess of the parking lot and tried to piece it back together.
Yeah, I saw the whole.
And we were able to get some good results, and we were able to update all of the calculations from calling it in on Thursday to get them out by Friday, so that we could get them in your packets. And I know Phil has had a chance to review that, and I believe there's just a couple of little housekeeping items. We received the letter, I believe, yesterday. We'd be happy. We don't have any issues with anything in the new letter from Beta. And we need to provide a couple of details and upsize the infiltration just a little bit to account for some additional phosphorus removal, but I think you'll see it's pretty minor. We are working with the Conservation Commission. We had one meeting with the Conservation Commission, and Beta is also reviewing that application, and we have a site walk with the commission next Tuesday, and then a meeting on the 10th with the commission. We are working on some things within the buffer zone that are essentially specific to the Conservation Commission. There's some invasive removal that we're going to be providing the Conservation Commission with a maintenance plan to eradicate some of the knotweed and bittersweet, and then I believe there was also some sort of an onion back there. So we're working with our wetland scientists to prepare that plan and then replant that area. We're also in contact with the condominium association from the grist mill so that we're going to prepare the plan, ask them if we can go a little bit onto their property to get a little bit closer to the brook. And so we're working with them to do that. That'll be a separate plan sheet, which we can include certainly within the planning board submission, or we can have a separate sheet specific to just that work that we're providing for the Conservation Commission. So that's kind of extraneous stuff that we're working on. And with that, I know certainly that Phil's on tonight, and if anybody has any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them tonight.
Want to hear quickly from Phil?
Huh?
Want to hear quickly from Phil?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, thank you. Yes, so normally I like to work with the engineer between our second review and kind of finishing it up. Unfortunately, because of just the timing, when we receive things and when we could get the review done, we were not able to. So in the future, we'll try to do that. There is just, you know, as was mentioned, a lot of the issues were resolved. There's a few more relative to details. There is, however, one fairly sizable issue, and that is the new requirement, MS4 requirement for treatment of phosphorus. The typical, so the majority of phosphorus comes from runoff from impervious surfaces, and it's in the air, it's everywhere, whatever. So the new regulations require that projects be designed so that they can reduce the phosphorus load to the wetlands and offsite areas by 50%. So that requires predominantly infiltration systems. There's, you know, you can do some filtration systems, but those get expensive and have maintenance issues. So predominantly infiltration is the best way to treat it, as well as the brook here has a TMDL for bacteria. And again, the best way to treat runoff for bacteria is to infiltrate it. The challenge here is obviously this is a vast improvement over what was there before relative to stormwater runoff. There was absolutely no treatment, and it just sheet flowed right off into the brook. However, again, the new regulations, the EPA is really trying to crack down on making sure that we do the best we can relative to treatment of runoff. It's the #1 source of degradation of waters of the United States. So having said that, all introduction, the applicant has provided a plan, and if I can share my screen, is that possible?
Yes. Just give me a moment. Okay.
I can explain. All right, can you see the watershed plan?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, no.
Something's happening.
Yes.
Okay.
So, again, the applicant has provided a plan with, obviously, the residence layouts, the building layouts and the pavement area and whatever, and as well as stormwater management. So the majority of the impervious area actually doesn't go to infiltration systems. This area of pavement and half the roofs on the front, and this area actually discharges through a proprietary water quality unit that does provide the TSS removal, but does not provide the phosphorus removal. The backs of these houses are just directly run off into the brook as well. So these units in the front are directed to these infiltration systems, and this unit here takes the infiltration system, impervious areas from this parking area, these roofs, and the front access drive. So there is about 59% of the impervious area is not directed to infiltration systems. So the applicant should provide an increase in the impervious recharge for some of this pavement area to achieve the 50% phosphorus removal. So that's kind of the biggest thing. I think I can work with them on that, but that might require some minor changes to the plans.
Okay.
If I may have a chance,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, to respond? Phil, I appreciate you doing the comments and getting back to us so quickly. I think one of the things you mentioned in your letter is doing a capture area adjustment for the phosphorus removal. So with a redevelopment project, again, our standards are to the maximum extent practicable. So we're doing, as Phil stated, a significantly better job than what exists there today, and utilizing the space that we have to do that. So certainly we had talked internally about making the infiltration area slightly larger based on your comment about this capture area adjustment. To do that, to capture and meet the phosphorus removal requirements of the 0.8 inches over the paved surface area. And we can certainly do that with some minor modifications to the plan. And then regarding the bacteria, I think certainly what we're doing here is significant in the fact that we're removing the existing sewer connection. There's not a lot of I&I problems in Chelmsford. So I think really the thing that we can look at most here is basically source detection for the site. And I think what would be best for us to do would be to include within the condominium docks and within our stormwater pollution prevention plan, basically some source reduction. So things like making sure that animal waste is picked up, things within the condo docks related to dumping of grass clippings and leaves, et cetera, within the buffer zone. And also, obviously, maintaining a planted buffer zone between the backs of the units and the river itself will help to reduce. We don't have an on-site septic system, and we are providing new sewer connections. So with that, I was hoping that we could work with Beta Group on these minor things and provide the planning board with the plans essentially incorporating what we just discussed as the plans that the planning board would ultimately sign.
Okay. All right, sounds like progress made there. Go ahead, Evan.
I think Phil had something to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me stop sharing here. I think there's an opportunity to work together on this. The challenge I have in accepting a 50% phosphorus removal is that not even 50% of the pavement area is directed to infiltration. So it's not possible to get 50% phosphorus removal without at least that.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
am I hearing that the issue can be resolved between the two of you? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are
Okay.
ways we can design around it.
Can't you just Katie, can't you just increase that, the filtration system that's in the main driveway that's coming in to
So
pick up that driveway on the right?
So we can increase the infiltration system, which we can do to adjust for a capture adjustment, but to send more pavement to that system, we would have to add additional fill and lift that whole side of the site up. So I believe what Phil's suggesting is we add another infiltration system over by the rain guardian that we have at the back of the site to accomplish additional phosphorus, because really the only way to remove phosphorus is infiltration. The thing is we're already significantly reducing impervious surface on the site. I think it's by like 40% over what's existing there today. So we're really trying to balance what maximum extent practicable means and really kind of do the best we can balancing all of the other items on site. But absolutely, I don't see an issue with working with Phil to come up with a solution. I think, as he stated, there'll be minor amendments to the drainage design
Okay.
to make sure that Beta is happy with the final plans.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else on the planning board like to weigh in? If not, I mean, I'll make a couple of comments. I mean, it's not a perfect world, and achieving, everything we want to achieve may be a little bit tough, but it sounds as if we can certainly get closer. And if we can do that, I don't really want to keep delaying you. This project's been in here for a while. But is this worth a continuance to our next round to see if this can be resolved?
I don't think this particular issue warrants a continuation. We can certainly handle it with a condition.
Can we handle it with a condition?
This particular issue,
Okay.
I think so.
All right,
Phil,
because that sounds like far and away the biggest.
Phil, would you agree that that could be handled with?
It's up to the board.
Why would we, I'm sorry.
I think there is a solution, and I don't think it would significantly change the plans, so, yes.
Okay.
But isn't it better to be, like, I don't know, I thought you had a good idea, just make sure this gets resolved and then go from there.
Well, yeah, we try to balance, the timing of these things and the certainty with which we'll get a solution. And if it's something that can be put in conditions, we do this all the time. And it's probably a good way to proceed.
So when Christina was here, she would say I would handle it directly with
Yeah.
Katie, addressing these items. So Phil's acting as.
Phil's acting in that role right now. So.
Representing the town as the
Yeah.
civil engineer.
Okay.
Is that correct, Evan?
Effect.
Yeah, I would anticipate that Christina or any internal in-house town engineer would be able to handle this administratively offline.
No, but Phil is representing that position for us.
I'm sorry?
Phil is representing that position. Beta is
Correct, we
representing
will,
that position
yes,
for
the
us.
condition will continue to tie Phil to make
Okay.
sure that this is,
All
that this issue is resolved. I think the only reason it would need to go back to the board is if the design solution had a major change or a substantial change to the layout. And I'm not necessarily hearing that at this point. Sounds like it's a minor adjustment.
Okay.
Evan, could we put something in there to, make sure that Phil is satisfied before it gets signed off, or?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
so if the board chooses to close this hearing and take a vote, what we normally do is I would prepare a decision.
Yeah,
It would-
the usual
decision would be
mechanism.
reviewed and ratified at an upcoming meeting, and that will contain all of the details, the conditions, the mitigation, the inclusionary payment, everything
Okay.
that the public hearings discussed.
Good.
Because I will tell you, these builders, we've been going through this for a while, and I think they have listened to pretty much everything we say, so if now they go ahead and satisfy it with Phil, I mean, I'm inclined to make a motion to move this tonight.
Well,
with
okay,
those
well,
stipulations.
we do still have an open public hearing, so we're going to have to take that. And did you have something you wanted to say, Anita?
I was just, so satisfaction, like, what does that, so we're saying it needs to be a condition that who's satisfied, the board?
That would be
or-
Phil. Phil, who is representing us.
It would be your,
But did you tell him what the parameters are, what you wanted to, like, how you wanted this satisfied?
Yeah, that'll be in the condition.
Yeah, they're gonna get to 50% of that.
50%, okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood what, like, that's what you're
Yeah.
authorizing
Yeah.
them to do, okay?
Good. Okay, this is a public hearing, and I happen to know that at least one member of the public has something he wants to say, so. But I suspect this may be the last of the public hearing.
So these are the things that they've added, like this one. He doesn't have to add, so this is all stuff we
Don't worry.
discussed.
Hi, Badri Upliapan, Precinct 11, Jarrett Lane, also a member of the Town Clean Energy and Sustainability Committee. For public hearing records' sake, I would like to offer the committee, Clean Energy and Sustainability Committee, to be able to meet with the developer and figure out ways to make this development a little bit more net zero friendly towards it. The town of Chelmsford has adopted a net zero policy of 2050. It doesn't mean that everybody has to cut their carbon emissions in the year 2049. It means that we have to make the journey starting today, or we should have started 20 years ago, at least.
Yeah.
But the ability to influence new developments, to adopt greener standards of building and our net zero standards when it goes towards the benefit of the developers when they sell it, even though the upfront cost may be higher potentially, but those who buy or the units and for longer term, these kind of buildings would be beneficial to the town of Chelmsford's stock to improve as the industry changes towards valuing more greener, efficient operating buildings. So I think taking all those considerations in, I would invite an opportunity to meet with the developer, to collaborate with them, to figure out ways that we as a committee can help them to reach where they want to be reaching, or collaborate with us to reach our goal, not just in Chelmsford. Obviously, it helps them across their future developments as they go across the multiple regions that that the developers will work through. So that is the main import. The other suggestion regarding this, if it's feasible, I don't know what's required in the testing or something. Obviously, some of the energy considerations that will happen is there are no laws and regulations right now that can prohibit the use of fossil fuels and stuff like that. We don't intend to necessarily use that as a stick, but as much as a carrot that if the developers would consider modern electric technologies for heating and cooling, or geothermal technologies, and I don't know if the site needs some testing or something for viabilities of these kinds of new technologies, then happy to discuss those and figure out ways to help the developer make this one of the first developments that might be in Chelmsford that might try to achieve it. And if we can incentivize in terms of recognition for the developer and the building as being one, then maybe in 75 years or 100 years later, the Chelmsford Historic Society will give them the first net zero home in Chelmsford in 2120 or something like that. And our grandkids and beyond will thank us for the first steps taken. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and as we have, you and I have discussed the general topic several times. I bet I know that dog. I'd suggest have a chat with Evan on the long-term, bylaw ramifications here and what might be done in that space. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Katie.
No, and we spoke also before the meeting.
Okay.
And I have this gentleman's email, and I'm going to set up an introduction with the developers of this property, where a lot of things happen between the permit set and the construction set.
Yeah.
I will do an introduction and make sure that there's a conversation, and just for future projects, I also talked about setting up a meeting with the committee itself, myself, to talk about things that can be included in projects in the future.
Great. Thanks a lot. That's it's going to take us a long time to get green, but we got to start now. Okay.
Can
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you go forward with the motion, I'd just like to ask a couple, where do we stand on, before we close the public hearing, if we do that,
Yeah.
where do we stand on the PILO? And also, I'd like to ask Nancy, has she reviewed and have we reviewed all the landscaping, all that? Trees, stuff like that, those items. I mean, I know that's a hot button that she likes. And
Well, I mean, she knows this.
she knows it better than I do. So the PILO, where do we stand on that, Evan?
So the applicant has indicated that they would do a full payment at the request of the board.
Okay.
I think we just need clarification. I can reach out as I'm drafting this.
Okay.
I'll review the record, but per the bylaw, it's 25%, and you round up. So 18 units at 25% is 5 units. At $125,000 apiece is $625.
Excuse me, Evan, we had a conversation where Mr. Iliopoulos stood in front of the board and requested, based on the number being 4.5 without the round up, that we could round down, and I believe that the board at that time stated that they would be supportive
I
of
do
that.
recall there was some
Due to the
conversation.
reduction in the number of units and to bring us to 4 times the 125.
I believe she is correct.
I know there was a conversation. I don't know if it was,
I think we've decided to monetize 4.5.
Yeah.
I can review the video. I know there was a conversation.
Yes,
I just
there
don't
was.
recall whether there was a definitive board.
Well, I think Deirdre's got it
It was
pretty much nailed.
that was the
down.
one we had at the senior center,
Yeah,
that discussion.
okay.
So if I'm hearing the board correctly, the board believes the board wanted 4.5?
Yeah, that's what I recall as well.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see.
Did Nancy have a chance to review the
Yeah,
drawings?
Nancy, are you out there?
I am. Hang in.
Did you have a chance to review the drawings with the landscaping?
Wait a minute.
I have the landscaping plan on the screen.
I'm shifting, yeah, I'm trying to shift to the landscape plan. So the answer is no, I have not reviewed the latest and greatest drawings for landscape plan, and I do remember that long, long ago, I had issues with some of the plant material. But, you know, this thing has dragged out so long that I can't tell you what those issues were.
When we were all younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm working on a small screen here, so trying to read this landscape plan and
I believe you had an issue with the type of.
do a evaluation on the fly is a little difficult.
So, suggestion.
Yeah.
Maybe keep the hearing open. I can prepare a draft,
And include, okay,
and between now and the May 11th meeting, Nan can email out her landscape comments.
okay. Yeah,
That work?
I don't expect a lot of trouble. Yes, go ahead.
No, I know we have a tight deadline with the owner of the property, so if I could suggest in the same vein that we're going to be working with Phil, if it's
You've done that
okay with the board, I'd be happy to work with Nan and the landscape architect, James Emanuel, to make sure that we're satisfied with the landscape plan.
We've done that
Before
before.
it's signed by
Okay,
the
then,
board.
I mean, in other words, essentially condition it.
Yeah,
Ways I can do.
condition it, the board member Nan Arroway.
Okay, I'm perfectly satisfied with that. I mean, she knows.
Yeah, I'm willing to do that.
Are you? Good, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Is there anybody else from the public who would like to address 9 Acton? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Tim. So do we have a second? Second by Deirdre. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstention,
You're
abstaining.
2 abstentions. Okay, I think we have,
I
No,
voted.
Paul's in.
huh?
Paul can vote on this.
Oh, Paul's on this? Okay, good, so we got 5,
So voting members are Shanahan, Walsh, Raisbeck, Arroway, McDougal, Connolly.
Yep. Good. Okay, the public hearing is closed. The next item, I guess, would be to,
So I think before we make a motion, I think we got to clarify some of the conditions.
okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, let's.
I don't think you need to wordsmith anything tonight.
Okay.
What we've done is
Yeah.
you're taking a motion to approve with a decision to be drafted, reviewed, and ratified by the board.
Yeah, I think that would work.
Okay.
That's pretty.
And you're going to
typically our
capture
process.
the beta comments that we had?
Oh, yeah.
50%?
The beta comments and the conversation
Landscaping.
on the,
And then
landscape.
working with the sustainability committee as well.
yeah, and that's already been agreed.
Yeah.
That you agreed to,
Yep,
so.
Yep. There's a
Okay.
variety of other conditions.
Yeah,
It's Center Village.
yeah, so there's the usual set.
Yep.
And then,
Okay.
and we're going to go with the PILO of?
4.5 units.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, unless that was originally, I think that's what the
Yeah,
board was
that's,
saying.
I think that's, believe that is what we agree, I remember it pretty distinctly.
Okay.
Okay, so, that said, does this get all done in one motion?
Yes.
Okay, then I would accept a motion to grant all the special permits under the VCOD as listed in here. That's 195, 124C, 245, 195, 125B, Table 2, L1489, B9, and Section 195, 104. Site plan review and Article 13, inclusionary housing, which we just discussed. Do I have a motion of that sort?
I'll make the motion.
I'll make the motion, but you basically just stated it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Deirdre.
I've got motion from Mike, second by Deirdre. In favor? Aye.
One abstention.
With an abstention. Paul?
Aye.
Okay, you've got 5 and 6 and an abstention, I believe. Is that what you count?
There should be 6 voting members.
Good.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you all very much for your time. I
Congratulations. This
appreciate it.
was a
Thank
long
you.
one.
Thank you.
All right, so the next meeting, we'll review the draft decision and make sure the words are just perfect. Thanks a lot, Phil.
Have a good night.
Okay, you too.
Enjoy reading your work.
Yeah. Okay, now, we have already continued Davis. New business. First thing is items for the May 4th work session.
That's next week,
That's next week.
right around the corner, yeah.
Yeah, that's coming up fast.
Yep. So, so I've identified 2 items. One is NIMCOG's coming in under their DLTA contract to do the initial intro and high-level presentation on the zoning map land use conflict. That's a beginning of the process. So they'll be introducing some initial mapping assessments, concepts, themes, and be looking for the board to make, give them some feedback as to whether they're heading in the right direction. The other item that was identified at the last meeting was a Route 129 discussion. Lisa Maroney and the town manager will be in attendance. My suggestion is maybe we spend, or plan on spending an hour on each one.
Yeah,
I would prefer to put NIMCOG first. So that's my suggestion. I'm not sure each one will go a full hour. And if not, maybe there's opportunity for other items as part of this work session.
okay, sounds good. So let's do that. Let's have NEMCOG first, and then we'll talk to
That will
Lisa
be in
Paul.
room 205.
205,
town
okay.
offices.
And what is the time for that one?
What do you want to do?
I would like, I'm sorry, but I'd like to stay to 7.
Okay, that's
I-
fine.
if
I
I'm
mean,
gonna- If I'm going to be here, I won't be here till 7.
gotcha.
I have a conflict.
All right, well, if you got a conflict, then let's make it 7.
I
mean,
just noticed it today, and I was like, oh,
Oops.
Came up quick.
it's a work.
They do. And you know, if it's an hour for each of these major topics.
That's a full-
An hour or less, that'll take us to 9. That'll be good.
It's a full work session.
Yeah.
Where are we with the appointments on the master plan?
I
So
think,
so now the town meeting is done.
Yep.
And the night of town meeting, the town clerk was still electing.
Yeah.
So now that that's complete, I will do the news flash and do the direct email to town meeting reps.
perfect, and that'll get, because I think we just need one more in here, right?
Right, right.
Okay.
And as we talked about, we'll ask for submissions.
Yeah.
The full board will review them, and then you'll decide how you want to proceed from there.
Okay, sounds good. And I'll chat with you later on some of the details of that. I think that makes sense. Work for everybody else? Okay.
Do we have any other topics that we can identify this evening for May 4th?
Let's pass it around the board. Is there any particular topics that people would like to address?
Well, we have that whole list. I don't have it in front of me right now. I'll resurrect it, and you had put some things in there, Mike, and I had put some things in there, and then some things came up in conversation in meetings. So I have been keeping a running list, but I didn't realize we thought we might have extra time, so I didn't kind of look at it. But I'll send it back out, and people can look at it and see if there's things that rise to the top.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you'll take care of that, and
Aye.
just get it to Evan, and then Evan can send it out.
I think I have that via email as well.
Yep.
Nancy wants something.
Mike, I'd like to have a discussion at that meeting about establishing expectations for public inputs. How do we communicate to the public?
Very good.
Appropriate inputs.
That's on the list.
Yeah.
And also, how do we, how do we communicate effectively with them? And also, what restrictions or what boundaries do we have on that communication in terms of, if we're going to be communicating in online forums, I think it's important that we're being appropriate in that conversation.
I think you're dead on there, and the large use of online has really changed the dynamics in ways that I think require us to revisit this.
That would be for another work session, because we have 2 hours with
Well, max 2
guests.
hours.
We have guests at the.
Yeah, we have guests. Let's get
So we're
to
not
the-
going to bring that up with the guests. They would either have to be.
Oh, no.
Yeah, after that.
Or after.
Do that after.
If we have extra time.
Yeah,
Okay.
good. I mean, let's not make it 11:15 like the town meeting the other day. Although, hallelujah, we actually got all the way through in one night. Okay, so that takes care of the TM member resident at large. And a member of the 2021 Master Plan Committee we have to pick? We need to pick?
Yes,
Did we
you're
already pick
picking that as well.
Well, I will certainly do it, but if somebody has a great desire for that, then they can take a stab at it. I was on the committee, so.
You did a great job.
Well, are you setting me up for something here, Paul?
Keep going.
Okay, then why don't I take that one, and we still, of course, have to talk about the town meeting member. Finally, we have minutes to approve. I read them.
I'm sorry, can I back up just a second?
Sure.
I thought we had decided that last person would be potentially a town meeting member or a member at large.
Yeah,
So
that's what it
I don't
says.
think- Yeah, but we're not going to restrict it necessarily. I mean, if someone who's not a town meeting member comes forth and seems qualified, that would be okay with me.
Yeah, I don't think I have any objection to that. I don't think anybody does.
That's the intent.
It says or.
Or, it says or
At large.
Okay.
on our agenda, and the most important characteristic for somebody to be on a committee like this is some enthusiasm. If we can
That was
find
gonna
that.
be my next question, was what was qualified? What are the qualifications?
Well, I think the biggest thing is enthusiasm for it. I could just, so people know, because there may be people listening to us tonight, this committee will meet, I would say, no more than once a quarter. Its purpose is not to force action on the master plan as much as just to keep track of it, and, maybe raise, small orange flags if we find some particular area is just not getting addressed. It'll be partly reporting and partly encouragement. And I don't imagine it's going to take more than a couple of hours once a quarter. Now, it may, after a couple of years of this, if we don't see some progress happening, we might boost it up. But I think for my tenure up here anyway, it's not going to be a big deal. Okay, any more thoughts on new business before we go to the minutes? Okay.
I make a motion to approve the April 13th, 2022 meeting minutes.
I
Second?
have a second. I might note they were pretty good.
They were awesome.
They were awesome. So,
I'll let-
whoever did them, thank you.
She's
That was
no
Becky.
longer with us.
That was Becky?
Thank you, Becky.
Great.
I'll let her know.
Let her know. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Looks, I'd say this is unanimous. Tim, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Okay.
Aye.
All right, yeah, we're there, it's unanimous. Next meeting, work session, May 4th at 7 o'clock. May 11th, the regular one, presumably at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll find a location.
Now,
This room is not available.
okay, well, I believe that the River Neck Road discussion was going to be on the non-traffic aspects.
Correct, the rest of the site plan.
Those seem to be considerably less controversial and important to people than the traffic stuff, which you have a lot of discussion about. So I'm going to suggest that we can probably do that one in 205, or 20, whatever it is.
If the board wants to do it in 204, that makes it easier for
River Neck
everybody.
Road is
Yeah.
very controversial, and
Huh?
regardless, I think you're gonna have people coming.
You think we'll have enough? I mean, the real consideration is, will we fill the room up?
Everybody in 205 so far.
I don't know. I saw it on Facebook yesterday for the first time, and
Yeah.
The concern with 204 is that the capacity for the seats is,
Yeah.
I think, 33.
right.
And while
I don't think
the
we-
public is aware that 205 can be used as overflow, it's never well received.
It's not an ideal situation,
Right.
that's for sure.
How about-
So you're
what about the
always safer
seniors?
finding a larger venue.
I just think there hasn't been 33 people yet to come.
Yet.
So I don't see the numbers increasing.
Yeah.
In my mind. I
Now,
don't know if that's.
it would not surprise me that if the meeting after that, we're going to need a bigger space. That presumably will be getting close to the wrap-up of this, and I would think that we would want to be prepared for a bigger crowd.
On the vote, yeah.
Okay. So you think,
I think we should be,
huh?
I think we should be prepared for a bigger crowd in any case.
Okay, in that case, you want to see if you can get the police station?
It'd likely be the senior center,
Senior center is fine.
because that's other than this facility, I believe that's the next telemedia friendly.
That, it is telemedia friendly, they've got it
Yeah,
all
the
wired
police
up.
station is not, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. It's always a pain with all the
Yeah,
cameras
and
up in the back.
between Zoom and in the room, it averages about 60 people,
Okay,
30 on Zoom and 30 in the room.
all right,
So-
I'll accept that, it seems,
Unfortunately, town offices is just not the right fit right now.
well, it's not for 50 or 60 anyway, that's for sure. And if that's the numbers we're actually seeing.
That's what the hearing's been averaging.
Okay, then let's see what you can do.
Okay.
We can announce the location later.
Yep.
But see what you can find. I mean, if it's nice weather, we could always have it on the common. Okay, that's tempting. Of course, it would probably rain. That'd be my luck. Okay, is there any other business that we have before we take? Who wants to do it?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Mike, second by Anita. In favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you all.
Trying to give you a softball.